Hello and welcome to a new class called Coming into the Seventh Day. My name is Rabbi David Katz, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the seventh day. Okay, here we go. We're going to cover 5 things in this first part. God willing, this will be a 3-part series, each class with 5 parts. God willing. Pardon me while I look at my notes. It's more pertinent to give over the facts correctly than to lose focus. So if I look down, I'm just looking at my notes. First thing I want to cover. Again, this class is geared for those who are coming out of the church into a Torah observant lifestyle, whatever way that takes form, based on one's choices, personal inclination, how they wish to serve God ultimately in the end. Thus, in this first class, in the first part of this series, I want to focus on the person leaving the church coming into Torah consciousness. So therefore, I'm calling this the seventh day. I'm going to refrain from calling it Shabbos at this moment in all the Jewish terms. For you, I want to call this the seventh day. Now, why? Because right now, I want to show the seventh day Adventist point of view in contrast with the Pope. I'm not a Christian scholar, I'm not an anti-missionary per se. I only know what I know about this from students and personal research to emphasize what is the Jewish Shabbat for the non-Jew. With my limited knowledge in that aspect, I think I can make a pretty clear point. The Seventh-day Adventist movement was a movement to restore the Sabbath, seventh day, from Sunday to Saturday. Again, just to keep a very layman approach here, I'm not claiming to be a New Testament scholar, nor would I ever want to be. The Pope, I think it was the year 700, whatever it was, again, not pertinent, moved the Shabbos, Sabbath, seventh day, with the Catholic dogma from the Jewish traditional Shabbat, seventh day, which is actually Friday night, going through Saturday night. They moved that, according to the church doctrine, to Sunday, which would become, for our era and lifetime and knowledge, the Sunday Sabbath observance. So what I want to focus on is really, who cares, right? That's how some people might take it. Why should we care if it's Sunday, Saturday, even Wednesday? Does it really matter? What is the argument? What do they do? So here we go. In real quick outline. The Shabbos is part of the 10 Commandments, right? I am Hashem your God, no other gods. Do not take the Lord's name in vain. Honor the Sabbath, honor your parents. Don't kill, don't steal, don't do adultery, don't covet, and don't bear false witness. Back up and focus on the Sabbath. Honor the Sabbath. The Jewish Sabbath is on, again, Friday night until Saturday night. The way this will work is the Jewish week will begin effectively Sunday morning. In Israel and Hebrew we call it Yom Rishon, which means day 1, first day. You find in the Old Testament, the Chumash, Torah, whatever we call that, whatever you want to call that, in the beginning of God creating the heaven and the earth, and it was day 1. Then you had the rest of the days of creation, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, the 6th day. 6th day is Friday. It is the day you prepare for the Shabbos. Jewish people will basically stop their week Thursday night, just like tonight. It's Thursday night. This is what a lot of people do. Have Torah get-togethers, just reflect on the week. It's a time to travel, family time, and reflect on what the week had and that you just finished, and you will start preparing. For example, tomorrow morning in a couple hours, I'm going to wake up if I go to sleep, and I will go shopping for groceries, preparing for Shabbos all day Friday. It's a total work day, but not work, it's preparation. And by Friday night, we will stop working, separate from the week, pray, make Kiddush, which means blessings on wine and bread, with a festive meal Friday night, go to bed, wake up, pray in the morning, have another meal, more Shabbos things in the day, learning, praying, eating, family, resting, walking, breathing, not doing creative labor the entire Shabbos. And then there's another meal, a third meal, which is usually a light meal, oftentimes tuna salad, bread, hummus, just light things. Go back to the synagogue, pray the night prayer, break the Shabbos through prayer, separate from the holiness and the mundane, and this is now called Motzi Shabbos. When Shabbos is over, again, a time to celebrate. Now you're doing creative work, so music, whatever you want to do. It is not Shabbos, but it's not yet Sunday morning. That's Judaism in the flash of a pan. The Jewish Shabbat is going to come to you from the Chumash, the 5 books, the 4th commandment of the 10 commandments, honor the Sabbath. Again, the Torah tradition tells you that it starts from sundown till sundown, approximately 24 hours. The Pope instilled the Shabbos from Saturday until Sunday, for whatever their purposes were, to separate people from the Old Testament and move to a new covenant, the New Testament, the whole thing. But there's a movement, obviously the Seventh-day Adventists, they want to restore the Shabbos from Sunday to Saturday to make authentic Bible, and this is where we're at. A lot of people coming out of the church, in the church, whatever, Shabbos is a thing in their heart they want, and it raises issues. If we're following the Shabbat and the Torah says Saturday, why do we do it on Sunday? Big reason to leave the church is, you see, they altered the text of the Torah. That's a no-no. And the Shabbos is one of the biggest perpetrations that was ever committed. And clearly, service starts from Sunday back to Saturday. When you do that, you're on your way out of the church. Now, we have 2 modes of time. 2 modes of time. And the biggest effect we see of this is in prayer. Do I pray the beginning of my day at sundown, like when Shabbos comes in? This is the evening prayer. In Torah Hebrew, we call it Mariv. Right? The sun comes down, we pray, then we go home and have a meal, whether it's Friday or any other night. You have to go home and be with the family, go to bed. Make sure you say the Shema, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, and you're going to go be with your family. Go to bed, wake up early in the morning, preferably with the sunrise. Pray the morning prayer, start your day the right way, as the Torah says, wake up like a lion. It means get dressed, just get on the right foot every day. That's really Judaism 101. You can summarize the whole Talmud into that. Right? Start your day on the right foot and make sure you go to bed having had a good meal, good family experience, having said Shema, and you came right home from the synagogue and you prayed the night prayer. It's almost like Hillel, the Torah on one foot. If you do all that and learn the rest is just commentary. If you can solve that little riddle to connect those 2 dots, night and morning, with prayer, Torah, and family, you're doing pretty good. Therefore, the Shabbos is very essential. Without that Friday night meal, you have no Shabbos. Essentially, your week is in flux, and you're not focused in a Torah lifestyle. Now, that's the difference in prayer. But again, there's another way to view time, and that is Saturday morning, or any morning until nightfall. Right? So, I wake up at 6 a.m., and my day goes till 9 p.m., and midnight comes, whatever, day over. Right? Now, night is called a quasi time period where I'm sleeping. Every morning starts a new day. Two ways to really view Jewish time. So, learning Torah really is a separate universe altogether, and time and how you pray. So the Shabbat is not the old week. It was not Sunday through Thursday. It's not next week. It's its own universe. 2 modes of time from sundown to sundown. The Shabbos goes out with 3 stars, not big ones, not little ones. We don't look at Jupiter or Venus, which are huge stars in the sky. 3 average, normal, bona fide stars. Shabbos goes out. Shabbos comes in. It's a question. They call it Bein Hashmashos, from the time when the sun is gone from the horizon and until it's ultimately gone and all the stars have come out. The tradition is a bit fuzzy when Shabbos begins, because the real essential thing, you shouldn't worry about the exact time Shabbos comes in. You should be in synagogue with plenty of time once the sun disappears. That's called Shkia. In Hebrew, the time of the setting of the sun completely, and now it's a matter of, I think, 30 minutes or something until it becomes dark, which means you should be in synagogue, bringing in the Shabbat with prayer and song, and ultimately coming home when all the stars are out, table is set, family's waiting, and you have a nice Friday night meal with Torah and song and good food. That's also the entire Shabbos on one foot. Now there's many details that come inside there, but essentially come home, drink some wine, which is called Kiddush, the sanctification of the unique day, break bread, which is the Kaviyah Sasuda. You're establishing a meal. It's very important to sit down and have a proper meal. It's called Kaviyah Sasuda. You want to have enough regular solid meat potatoes, even literally, so you have a blessing and a good time and song, plenty of Torah discussion, and engage in a meal with friends, family, people close by. Shabbos guests is a big one. And again, you're going to go on that Shabbos time, sundown to sundown Saturday night. What you do on Saturday day, that's a different discussion. How you want to work out your prayers and your learning and your family time. Experience comes best. The more experience you have in putting these things together, I think it took me at least 10 years to get comfortable with my Shabbos. I think to say that it takes less than that is a bit of a lie. Even though you start keeping Shabbos when you're Jewish right away, you don't really get your rhythm until you've been doing it for a while. So don't be afraid to get your learning curve and try and experiment and do things. And the non-Jew has plenty of liberty. That the breaking of Shabbos is different than for a Jew who is to not break Shabbos. So the paths are a little bit different. They're a little liberal, and they're there for people to grow into their Shabbos observance. Jewish time. Now that we're talking about Jewish time, where does Jewish time come from? That we learned in the Rambam's Guide to the Perplexed. You and I learned this. That the world is 15 billion years or so old. The Greeks will say that it's eternal. So let's just say that the universe is eternal, and Aristotle was right, says the Rambam. But then you have, the creation of Adam. And Adam would say is 5,775 years ago. Then, more importantly, you have Abraham. And Abraham's going to come. Adam, by the way, did not make it to Shabbos. That was his goal. If you have to paint one goal, remember, Adam was created on the 6th day of creation. If he gets to that Shabbos, it's all good for Adam. We're all going to be inhabitants of Gan Eden, Garden of Eden, if he achieves that. The world repair was on his shoulders. Now, the world need further repair. He didn't get it done. God says, I have an Abraham program there in place to perfect and repair the Adam flaw. We do not believe in eternal sin and the sunken state of man, therefore we need a Savior to come. We believe in Adam's sin, that he brought life sustenance to evil. Our job is to repair that and elevate and bring the world back to a state of repair, to be the place where before Adam sinned. Very exalted level. That is what we call the times of the Messiah, which not only Jews will be a part of, but obviously the non-Jew as well. The prerequisite for the non-Jew is simply he must recognize the Creator. We believe everybody in the end will recognize the Creator, Jew and non-Jew. The question is, for Jew and non-Jew, at what time do you wish to recognize the Creator? From the time of Adam, that was operative for everybody, and to this day, so there are some that do, on Jewish and non-Jewish, and there are those that don't. We are waiting, and our mission of light is to get everybody on the planet to recognize the God of Israel. Fortunately, many Jews do not recognize the God of Israel. It's our job to bring them back, as the students of Aaron are to love peace, pursue peace, and bring the creation close to Torah, all the more so that exists for non-Jews as well. Thus, Abraham came, and he was an observant of the Sabbath, following the footsteps of Shem and Noah and Enoch, all the way back to Adam when he finally discovered the Sabbath upon his expulsion from the Garden of Eden. Moses comes along at Sinai and sanctifies the Abrahamic timeline, which is a Jewish timeline, which is the recognition of Adam, Gan Eden, and the Torah format. The Torah then sanctifies the Torah belief. Whether or not the world was ever 15 billion years old, it's irrelevant. Our timeline recognizes the Adamic timeline. There are many ideas to reconcile science and Torah, but for all intents and purposes, we have a Torah point of view. So philosophy wants to go with its way, we go the Jewish way. And a good point to express this idea is geocentrism. Geocentrism holds that even though, pardon me if I'm a little bit off on this, that even though there's an entire universe, and you can make a relative argument that there are perhaps many cycles and systems to the universe, Torah mandates that our Earth is the center of the universe and everything revolves around Earth. That is a Jewish model of thought. Jewish time is the central time, even though there may be other time frames. For example, you can say the world is 5,775 years old plus 6 days. Those 6 days become relative. Science folds itself to Jewish Torah ideals and not the other way around. We do not fit the non-Jewish system of the world, and thanks to the brilliance of relativity, that is not only feasible, it's actually 100% possible and probable and, according to Torah, factual. Did I do you justice right there? That's that point right there. Now, who's going to partake in the Sabbath? So let's form a little bit of a flow chart, in airspace here. We have a guy in the church. He is called Akum. He is called Goy. He is called Nachri. He is not Jewish. He is technically an idolater. Now, that sounds a little bit harsh. So let's paint a picture from the Kutis. The Kutis were the people, the Samaritans in the West Bank from the time of Sennacherib. And they believed there is a God up above. You can even call him the God of Israel. And there are Jews that believe in this hybrid experience. It's a little cholent in the West Bank a long time ago. Let's just assume and judge favorably they all believed in Hashem, the God of Israel, just like the Christians believe in the Old Testament and Moses and all these things. But then there was an intermediary, called a Jesus or whatever idolatry you put in there. And basically what it means is there's a lesser medium that we connect to that gives us our bounty, and shefa is the Hebrew word for bounty, an easier thing to connect to instead of up in the realm of faintness where it's even beyond perception. It's in front of you. It's a man on the cross. It's this idol, that idol, this avodah zarah, this idolatry. Therefore, the party line became that God is too hard to connect to. We have our own little belief system. Today it's called a paycheck, a boss, a job. Basically, any power that you invest into that's not directly from God to you is, by Torah definition, remember, Torah goes on a bit of an alternative view on things. It views things a little differently. That's idolatry. God wants you to rely on Him, and that He gives you the bounty, and you bless Him and thank Him, and you continue with God. Whenever you invest in man, in any way, right? Anything else than God, directly, the God that we all believe in, the creator of the universe, He does not have a partner that He lowers into this world to make it easier on you. Life doesn't get easier. You are expected to grow, and I'll give you an analogy of this. When you are in 5th grade in woodshop, it's very hard to conceive you making something, or if you're a basketball player when you're a child, you cannot even begin to fathom slam dunking a basketball. But if you're meant to be a basketball player, and you are going to dunk, let's say when you're 15, 16, you just achieved your childhood dream. The childhood dream you're supposed to have is a relationship with God. And obviously when you're a child, it's impossible, it's too much, and it's a bit depressing that God is not in your life. But that's because you're 10. When you grow up and you're a responsible man or woman, mature adult, and you have wisdom and understanding, God becomes reality. It's not even a challenge, let's say, like dreaming to slam dunk a basketball. God becomes a part of your life. So an intermediary is basically, if you're LeBron James, requiring stilts to slam dunk a basketball. You don't need it. You're LeBron James. Just go dunk. If you're a man or a woman of proper maturity, God is in your life. There's absolutely no need for anything else. Thus, the Shabbos is the connection in time and in thought. It's the construct of mind to get into a God-created universe rather than a man-created universe. Thus, all the things that you need to connect to God, God rested and blessed the 7th day. That mentality of God creating the universe is part of your life. Shabbos becomes the conduit for you to serve God directly. And Shabbos is just a creation of God, just like the Torah, just like Israel, just like Shabbos. All the things that God created, either before the creation of the universe or that we have in holiness today, that allows us, basically as a proper Torah, oral and written, to allow us to connect to God, or rather to understand God, and we, our souls, connect directly to God. And we'll end this first class with the Ten Commandments. Ten Commandments, good question what those are. A lot of people debate this, they wonder, they question. In Jewish times, they were said and recited in the Holy Temple. It became put away because of heresy. People said the whole Torah is in the Ten Commandments, so let's throw out the whole Torah and just keep the Ten Commandments. That's a no-no. But the thing about the Ten Commandments is they are by definition universal. In the Ten Commandments, we have a direct command for the ger in your gate to keep the Shabbat. That ger is not a Jew. A convert is a Jew. Thus, the Ten Commandments is one of the most powerful sources of a non-Jew coming into Torah, keeping the Shabbat, learning the Torah, being part of God's Bible, all these things. So it's in the DNA of the universe that at Sinai, God dropped the Torah down, and the universe basically became subordinate to God, and that is why we have an inclination to serve God, study His Torah. So when Christianity comes about and moves the Sabbath to Sunday from Saturday, number one, it's very attractive to have the day of rest. It sounds Jew-ish. Torah, it sounds Sinai, it sounds biblical, and the reason why it's attractive is because everybody on the planet is biblical. All the more so when you find out that it was Saturday and you got ripped off thinking it was Sunday. There's a very good reason why it was on Saturday. Your inclination was correct. It's worth investigation, and you will end up in the Ten Commandments realizing you were there, you were mentioned, you were thought of, and you are destined to keep this the Shabbat. It's a universal Torah. There's a portion for everybody, and that's the first segment we're going to have here. And then we're going to conclude with the message that coming into the seventh day, it's not Sunday, it's Saturday, it's Jewish time, it's universal, it's for everybody. Even the idolater is going to find that he has a relationship to Shabbat. Now, it is true there's the covenant given to Israel on Shabbat. The non-Jewish Shabbat is unique, just as Israel proper, their Shabbat is unique. One is not better than the other per se. It's very male-female by the definition of souls, and we will endeavor to explain how the Shabbat works universally for everybody involved, which is the Jewish people and the Gerim, the attachments to Israel. We call them the Noviim. Wherever you fit in the spectrum, there is a Shabbos for you. Thank you for listening to part one of the Coming into the Seventh Day Universal Shabbos. Thank you.